Snap it back to Simpson. Pressure from the edges. They throw it. Slant pattern. Caught in the end zone for a touchdown. Jeremy Bernard. And Alabama scores first. Goal to go for Alabama again. On the 6. Bootleg for Simpson. Rolls to the right. Sets up. Throws in the end zone. Wide open underneath the goalpost. Caught. Touchdown. Isaiah Horton. They bring Bernard in motion to the left. We go with him on the defensive side. They set up a screen. Throw it to the big guy. Proctor, I think. He caught it over there. We hit him low with Kyron Jones. That barely nudged him. That's a 340-pounder over there catching a pass and running a screenplay. We finally got him out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Simpson rolling to the right, keeping it, and angling into the end zone touchdown with 34 seconds to go. 4th down. The Dogs go lining up quickly. 4th down. Handed off to Cash. Oh, gosh, they tripped him up in the backfield. He couldn't keep his balance as he stumbles running to the right at the 10-yard line. He lost yardage on the play, and Alabama gets the stop on 4th down. It's Alabama's ball. Jam Miller to the left of the quarterback, Simpson in the shotgun. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. He's in tight. Motion man is Bernard. They snap it back. Bootleg, roll to the right, throw it. Caught by Miller. 1st down, Alabama slides at the 50. Coaches shake hands in the middle of the field. Kalen DeBoer now 2-0 against the Dogs in his brief tenure at Alabama. The Tide beating Georgia now for the 10th time in the last 11 meetings and the 3rd straight. And unfortunately for the Bulldogs, Alabama continues to be Georgia's kryptonite.
That's the way it sounded on the Georgia Radio Network this weekend. Not a lot of exciting highlights if you're a Georgia Bullpup fan as they lose to the Alabama Crimson Tide. No big surprise as, once again, the Alabama football program has the voodoo over the Georgia Bulldogs. The SEC just announced moments ago that the SEC Offensive Player of the Week is Ty Simpson, and the Offensive Lineman of the Week, Caden Proctor.
Yeah.
I'm making sure I'm reading that right.
I was waiting for you to say
Landrum.
Wilkin Formby.
No, I was making sure it didn't say wide receiver.
Wide receiver of the week?
Yeah, no. He got Offensive Lineman of the Week, Caden Proctor.
Does he have Heisman odds yet?
He's your newcomer wide
should.
receiver of the week.
Yeah.
He needs more targets. More targets.
I agree.
It doesn't matter if they know.
He's going to go in the wide receiver room and say, I want more targets.
Yep.
What are
I
y'all
want what's
doing?
mine.
All right, Ryan, so when you catch the ball, you put your hands out like this. You don't catch it with your body. You catch it with your hands.
Yeah.
All right, so we went a whole hour, but we do have to discuss this.
Yeah, it's
It's getting to be a problem.
There's a problem with Ryan Williams.
He's in his head.
And I'm telling you what, for Kirk Herbstreit to absolutely dog him on the air like he did the other night, I don't remember Kirk Herbstreit really doing that very often, but man,
It was much deserved.
yeah, like I said, I'm not saying that it was not warranted, but that's just something that Kirk Herbstreit just does not do.
No, he
for
said
him
what
to
everybody's
do
been
it,
thinking.
But watching the clips of him not even like attempting to block anybody.
It was bad. And I will say this. I don't know whose final call it was, if it was DeBoer, Grubb, Jamarcus Shepard, but they sat his ass on the bench, and you saw when he came back in the game. Again, I'm not saying it makes up for anything, but he took that big hit and made a catch on a 1st down in the 4th quarter, and you saw it was like, okay, maybe sitting him on the bench will do him some good. But, yeah, I mean, it's a problem, man. You can't drop those easy passes when you're making $2 million a year. And again, it goes back to, are you focusing on all the things around the game, or are you focusing on what's going on in the game? Because at this point, it's become a trend. He has the most drop passes of any receiver in the SEC since the start of last season.
It's startling.
That's unacceptable.
Startling. And
Especially in a game like that, where that catch can totally change. Now, for Alabama, it was good. You won the game. But that can totally change the complexion of a game. No excuse.
Nope.
But it was interesting to see how Grubb
Beautiful ball.
got
Fantastic.
got Horton involved. It's almost like Horton now is the number 2 receiver behind Bernard.
Well, good. It should be him and Jeremy right now until Ryan wins. Again, if you're not going to make the routine plays, you better block your butt off.
This is what big boy wide receivers do.
You
Look at these two and emulate what
you
they
can
do.
have all the talent in the world, but I guarantee you the NFL evaluators that are looking at that, nope, I don't want that guy on my team. It's great if you can burn down the field, but when you can burn down the field and be wide open and not catch a pass, and then you're going to respond by not picking up blocks for your teammates who are actually making the plays.
I mean, forget catching the
Embarrassing.
football. If you don't block and your motor's not running at a high level, that's the first thing that an NFL scout is going to say no.
Yep.
All right, so we had a caller last hour, and they took some shots at Wilkin Formby, the offensive lineman for Alabama. And some people subscribe to PFF stats, others don't. There's some folks on this radio station that think it's ridiculous to even mention Pro Football Focus. But again, take it for what it's worth. According to Pro Football Focus, he was the number one pass protector against Georgia that plays for Alabama. Now, for the whole season, as a blocking grade, and that includes running and pass protection, according to Pro Football Focus, he is 9th on the Alabama team overall. But as far as the Georgia game goes, they gave him the number one pass blocking rating.
And he played well on Saturday, and that was good to see for him. But
Alabama gave up one sack, right?
Correct, one sack. And I think the reality for Wilkin Formby is, right, like moving forward, you want to see more of that from him. But it is a matter of when, not if, I think Michael Carroll takes over the full-time right tackle spot. Because I know he's a true freshman. He's young, but you see when that dude gets in the game, he's no nonsense. That dude is legitimate, and I think it's only a matter of time before you see him get more involved. He got to play some on Saturday, and Formby did play well, but he's I think it may just be a case of that dude is a can't-miss talent potentially at right tackle, and you gotta put the best 5 out there.
So we'll continue with your phone calls, 1-800-239-WJOX, the courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450.
Let's go to Chris. Chris, welcome in.
Guys, what's going on? The Roll Tide and who that Prince thing is just saying. So we finally come to an agreement that it's successfully understanding that it turned out to be the DEI high.
I'm going to have to put him on hold. Cannot make you out, Chris. Call us back when you have a better cell signal, 800-239-WJOX. Does give us time to go to the Jocks text line, 205-834-9450. This one rolls in. Ryan Williams of Alabama needs to quit worrying about his makeup and baby dolls and concentrate on catching the ball. To be fair, it's a stuffed animal, not a baby doll.
And does he wear makeup? I was not aware of that.
It's just his nails.
Is that considered makeup?
I wouldn't
Cosmetic?
say so.
That's
Yeah.
big cosmetic.
Not makeup, though.
Fairhope High School kicker.
Is that who?
That's all they texted in, so I guess that's maybe the guy.
Okay.
Alabama can't run the football. That's going to be a problem in the future. They ran it when they had to.
Rushing offense, Alabama is just ahead of LSU. They're 14th in the SEC. LSU is 15th.
Josh, a big Auburn fan from Huntsville, says, Conrad, don't worry about Williams. You'll have a guy named Cam Coleman on your team next season. Maybe so.
Oh, wow.
Proctor is a better wide receiver than Williams. Hayden Chambers, Crimson Convict, says, is his name, the Mississippi State commit. We need to go after him.
Well, maybe CC wants to pay him a little money to come to Alabama. He is a Fort Payne kicker.
Oh, the guy that Crimson Convict was talking about?
He's 6'1", 185 pounds. He is a 3-star. And for you to actually have a star as a kicker,
You got to be pretty good.
you got to be really, really good. So, yeah. So, Hayden Chambers, Fort Payne, Alabama.
Correct me if I'm wrong about this, and I know this is not what people want to hear, but, over the history of Alabama the last 20 years, don't they typically get very highly recruited I mean, the kickers they brought in have been typically cream of the crop high school kids that just for whatever reason don't pan out.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been a problem where they're not getting good recruits. It's just for whatever reason those kids have a mental block when it comes to kicking field goals.
According to his bio page on 247 Sports, he's a hard commitment to Mississippi State. The other schools that he showed interest in was Arkansas, Auburn, Texas A&M, and South Florida.
Call them up.
Brant texting into the show. Did I hear you right? Hugh Freeze said he wishes he had stayed at Liberty. No, I think the way that Greg from Russellville said that his wife had heard something about Hugh Freeze might have made a comment about that. We just heard through back channels. And this is not, I wish I would have stayed at Liberty. It was just him relishing the days of being at Liberty.
And playing golf a lot.
Playing golf, getting paid very, very well, and not having to deal with the day-to-day grind that you do at a program like Auburn in a conference like you do of the Southeastern Conference. Also, Brant goes on and says, I believe the game was passed him by. I hate to say it. I like Freeze, but this is awful. We're about to lose all these great players. Sucks bad. Y'all have a good day, Brant. Thank you, Brant. Don says, working today, I can't call in. I'm done with Freeze. They need to change quarterbacks, change their offensive line around. See and talk to everyone tomorrow at Social Taco. Join us tomorrow at Social Taco. We'll be in the terrace from 10 to 2. Again, I know that there is blame to go towards Jackson Arnold. I don't think that Deuce Knight is the answer with the setup that Auburn has right now. I don't think Ty Simpson would be the answer with the setup that Auburn has right now. There's no organization. There's no identity. You're not running the football. The penalties, I don't think there's one thing that you can point at and say, hey, that'll fix it.
Well, and there's a reason that Jackson Arnold was named the starter coming out, right? If you think you have a better chance with one of those other guys, you would think that they would have gotten thrown in there at this point. I'm with you, Langem. I don't think that a quarterback change is automatically going to solve the issues at Auburn. I don't think Ashton Daniels is going to go in there and magically fix that offense.
There have been games, plenty of games that I've watched and said, goodness gracious, put somebody else in that can run the offense, that can make a throw. Last 2 weeks, I haven't thought that.
No, and if you're going to keep running the ball 8 times with your running backs a game, that's not going to help any quarterback in the passing game. It's not going to open anything up for anybody.
Arizona State is ranked 25th with the same record at Mississippi State, who is left out. If only there was a head-to-head matchup that has occurred to determine who is better, going back to rankings in the poll. Jimmy says Auburn never adapts or changes how they play the game. It's why they consistently lose. I'll never understand it. Lots of kicker recommendations. If you're a kicker right now, there's a good chance that your name is on our text line. Mitchell says the kid that jumped on top of the pile for Georgia, okay, should that have been called for targeting? I'm just wondering about that. I thought that, I don't know, he got a 15-yard penalty, but Herb Street was absolutely right on that. That was a dumb play. What are you doing?
Yeah, and I tell you what, the officiating crew, they missed a couple of calls in that game. Like Ryan Williams it was helmet to his face mask.
It was.
On a reception. I can't even believe they didn't even review it.
I'm glad you said that, Pat, because I wasn't going to be the one to do that after the victory. But yeah, they missed that. There were a couple pass interference calls. And I know some people were, well, Alabama never got called for a holding penalty. If you're a Georgia fan, you should be grateful because there were multiple drives for Alabama that should have been extended because of a pass interference or a targeting call.
Yeah, I was starting to wonder if
it is what it is.
Commissioner Sankey was going to call Kalen DeBoer on Sunday afternoon and give him an apology like he did to Hugh Freeze the Sunday before.
Going back to Proctor and potentially a tush push play. Valid question from Mike. Who would want to play center?
Very valid question. Congratulations, Parker Brailsford. You're our winner.
Oh. Max says, for Kirby Smart with a straight face to say he doesn't worry about his record against Alabama is laughable.
No, it eats him alive every day. You know it eats him alive every day.
A lot of great memes. We appreciate that. The only question Auburn fans have is when will Hugh Freeze be fired, says one of our listeners.
You better have a competitive performance in 2 weeks against Georgia. It better be real competitive.
I venture to guess that there's some interesting conversations that are starting to probably take place.
$16.25 million. That's the buyout. You got to pay 75% of what's remaining on his contract, and that can be spread out over time. This is not like it was for Brian Harsin or Gus Malzahn, where you got to pay him in 30 days. So that's not a problem. If Auburn wants to get rid of him, they can write a check today and be done with it.
Yeah. And I'm not painting a doom and gloom scenario, but it just felt like Saturday, especially, you felt a shift during the end of that game where a lot of equity was lost with Hugh Freeze, with the fan base. I don't know how much hope Auburn fans have moving forward with the schedule that they have. And is it maybe time, have you seen enough? Or do you have faith that he gets this turned around? Thought we were kind of there prior to the start of the season. Don't think we should be asking those questions after game 5.
Well, I was about to say, you don't want to be sitting here going, has he lost the locker room? Because when that happens, that's when you know that it's a wash at that point.
So according to Kelly Ford's ratings that we talk about a good bit on this show, Auburn is projected to win 3 SEC games for the rest of the year. So they would finish 3-5.
So Arkansas, Kentucky. All right. We'll have to call Kelly during the break.
See who the third is?
Yeah. Love to know who that third is. Vanderbilt? You getting Vanderbilt right now? Missouri?
He's got Alabama
Georgia, man.
at 6.4 wins in conference would be the highest, followed by Ole Miss at 6.2, Texas, then Texas A&M, Georgia. Auburn would finish with 3, just ahead of Florida. Florida would have 2.8.
I don't know what those games are for Florida either at this point.
Well, that would put you 7-5, provided you beat Mercer.
Yeah, and I just don't. Based on the way that it's looked in these first 2 games, if it looks like that against the Georgias and the Alabamas and the Missouris of the world, I don't think 7-5 is saving your job.
So you remember last week when we were bringing up the Kelly Ford ratings, he had Alabama a 54% chance of beating Georgia. He's got Alabama 82% chance to beat Vanderbilt this weekend. He's got Alabama
Don't know about that one.
67% chance to beat Mizzou, 81% chance to beat Tennessee, 79% chance to beat South Carolina, 79% to beat LSU, 77% to beat Oklahoma, 99% to beat Eastern Illinois, and 76% to win the Iron Bowl at Jordan-Hare.
So Auburn's the toughest game left on Alabama's schedule.
No. Let's see. Yeah. So there you go.
Hey, got to take it a week at a time at this point. Vanderbilt's no joke.
82% though.
I don't like that.
All right, more 3-man front on this Reaction Monday. This is Jock's 3-man front. Coming up at 12 noon, we will hear from Kalen DeBoer right off the big win against the Georgia Bulldogs. But another big game coming up, very challenging game this weekend against Vanderbilt. We'll spend a good bit of time starting tomorrow looking ahead for Alabama. Auburn has this week off as they kind of lick their wounds a little bit, try to get that offense going in the right direction as they'll be hosting the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, Georgia's got Kentucky coming up this weekend, so Georgia's got a week to try to fine-tune some of the issues that they had against Alabama before they go to Jordan-Hare.
Let's get back to some of your phone calls, 800-239-WJOX. Let's go to Brandon. Brandon, welcome in.
Good to talk to you, gentlemen.
Yes, sir. Good to hear from you.
I was not one of the people who was a prisoner of the moment who wanted to fire Kalen DeBoer and every relative he had when we lost to Florida State. I have a little more resolve than that. And he and Ryan Grubb have showed me that they do have something. I wish they would have adjusted a little more in the second half against UGA. But my focus is on this defensive staff. I am not convinced that Freddie Roach is a good defensive line coach, and I'm not convinced that our defensive coordinator has got what it takes to stop the run because he's yet to show me that. I feel like this team's got a lot of upside to it, and the ceiling can be a lot higher than what it is now for them. I'm not going to just go completely crazy because they beat Georgia, but that was a big win. To be able to go in there and pull your pants up and get your stuff right after you got punched in the face versus Florida State is big. So when I look at this team going forward, I have expectations that we can win a lot of games going forward. But I feel like with Diego Pavia coming in, we've got to hit that guy over and over and over. He needs to feel like he has been in 5 car wrecks by the time that game's over with. And I think if we cannot get hands on him and we can't hit him, we're in for a long day. And I know this is not your daddy's Vandy, and these people that scoff and laugh, they haven't been watching what Vanderbilt's been doing. They are legit. And my question for this weekend is, what do you think we are going to be able to do to stop them as far as our defensive line getting after them? And do you believe that our linebackers are going to be able to step up and get in those gaps and stop them instead of catching them 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage?
Thanks for the phone call. Appreciate it, Brandon.
That's a great question. The problem with this defense the last 2 years, and Rodney Orr has telegraphed this every single Thursday when we've had him on the last 2 years, is the Alabama interior defensive line. They just have not had those pass rushers like they had with Anderson. And, it's a situation Turner. And so anytime that they want to get any type of pressure on a quarterback, they've got to bring extra guys. And Landrum, you saw in particular when Georgia scored that first touchdown, that was on Kane Womack. Like, Bobo got him on that play.
Yeah.
I mean.
And you saw him tell the guys, hey, that's on me.
That's right.
That was my fault.
That was on him. But, you talk about trying to disrupt Diego Pavia. The problem is that Alabama just does not have that pass rush. I mean, that's
now you're going to have
problem.
James Smith out for the first half of that game.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's something that you can.
I don't think
you can fix in a hurry.
Yeah, different things that you can design, and that's probably opponent specific when you can do it. But if you're looking for an overhaul, and all of a sudden Alabama's pass defense just gets better, that's not going to happen this season. But I do think that they do a good job in understanding where your shortcomings are, even with Jam Miller and Alabama running the ball for how many yards did they have the other night? Like 130 something?
117.
117. Even doing that, what did Kalen DeBoer do? He ran the clock. Time of possession. You shorten the game. You limit the amount of touches that Gunnar Stockton, their running game, their wide receivers are going to get. And it was playing to win the game. It was not necessarily playing to put up stats. That's got to be refreshing, and that's got to be relieving to you as an Alabama fan, and knowing that you do have some other parts that can kind of compensate for where you have those. But I don't know, against Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt, there's some things that with Vanderbilt you probably you don't have to worry about that you worried about with Georgia. Just overall skill, number one.
No, I certainly agree with that. And I'll tell you this, and me and Pat were talking about this a second ago on the break. The defensive line is going to have to continue to get better and better and better, and they're going to have to be able to stop the run. And maybe it is like Georgia where that's kind of an issue all season long. But when you have to make plays, you make those plays, and you can win that way. But one person that's going to have to be better on Saturday is Damani Jackson, because we want to talk about the defense and how bad they were stopping the run at times.
Yeah, he got toasted.
That guy was the worst player on the field for Alabama on Saturday, and you're going to have to get more out of a guy like him in that secondary, because you can't start having issues where you're allowing the big run plays and the busted coverages in the secondary that are giving up the big pass. But you can't have both.
When his eyes are in the wrong place on that play, there's no excuse for that. He's not a true freshman.
No. That's a guy that could have gone to the NFL. He could be playing on Sundays right now, and he wanted to come back, and you've got to be better.
So this weekend, I was able to get on my R-Tech tractor, my zero turn, to get some cutting done. And, right now, R-Tech Tractor in Jasper, they have got just a heck of a deal right now. And I'm talking about their Hunter's Package deal that includes the following for only $450 per month with zero money down. And I'm talking about the Mahindra 1635 tractor and loader, 20-foot trailer, 5-foot bush hog, 5-foot tiller, 3-point spreader, all of this for $450 per month, 0% financing, zero money down, custom package deals available to fit whatever you need. Knowledgeable sales department to advise you on any purchase, expert service department, large selection of heavy used equipment. Jeremy, Greg, and the guys, they're going to take care of you just like they have taken care of me. Go by and see them just north of Jasper on Highway 5. That's R-Tech Tractor. Visit their online inventory at rtechtractor.com.
We're 30 minutes away from hearing Kalen DeBoer address the media, his weekly press conference in Tuscaloosa. We'll continue with your phone calls, your text, your reaction to the college football weekend that was. We're three-man front, and this is Jocks. .32, three-man front, Landrum Pat Conrad and Molly, your reaction, what happened over the weekend? We'll get to it, 800-239-WJOX. He's going to give another try, hopefully a better sell. Chris wants to chime in. Hey, Chris, how are you?
I'm sorry, can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
All right. First off, happy birthday to Kevin Durant, my father, and yours truly. Let's ask Conrad and not Conrad. I guess Damian, what he got for me today, except and everything except what a hard time he usually gives me. Am I right? Second off, I gotta say the switch up, and I'm coming at you, Conrad. The switch up between everything's doom and gloom off week one and up to now is just outrageous. When I was the one that said everybody pulled everybody's card and said, you know what, if you're not with us all the way, stay over there.
Chris, I'm going to have to let you go. We tried it again, man. Hopefully we appreciate you taking time to chime in, but if we can't hear you, it's a waste of everybody's time. Let's go to Dennis. Dennis, welcome in.
Hey, wonder if you guys caught what Kirby said. This is the second year he's done this. When he was asked about his record versus Bama, he responded, what is everybody else's record? Does that give us a little bit of insight to Kirby's mindset when it comes to Alabama program versus Georgia program?
I'm glad you said that because that's immediately what I thought was that, yeah, sounds familiar.
Does that mean then there's Bama and then there's everybody else and Georgia's part of everybody else?
Yeah. Apparently.
Also, if I'm the recruiters at Alabama,
yeah.
He said the same thing last year. I'm putting a little cut up together. This is what Kirby says about Alabama. There's Alabama, and then there's everybody else. And I'll let them hear it, you know. Hey, Georgia's had a great run, but Alabama's run's longer, not going away. Listen to Georgia's coach and what he has to say.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Dennis, for sure.
And finally, as an Alabama fan, if my coach ever said that same thing about another program, I know our fan base would blow up. And it's funny that Georgia fan base hadn't blown up. Maybe they feel just like Kirby.
Hey, Dennis, really good points. Thank you.
This is what he was referring to. This is what Kirby Smart said after the game losing to Alabama.
What's everybody else's record against them? You got it? I don't either. Like I don't lose sleep over that because those games have been like championship caliber games, right? And even when we play in the regular season, they've been. I just saw 25 scouts out there. They're all there to watch these teams play. So that's not going to affect me. Like I'm going to be happy and just go lucky if our team comes back and plays well. That's what I worry about. But it's just we got to get better. And next year it won't have anything to do with this year.
One thing I will compliment Kirby Smart on, and I think he more than any coach that I can just honestly, when I watch these post-game press conferences, we've talked about getting in the mindset of the NFL. We talked a little bit about it last week, how all these point spreads are so low now. It was like almost any given Saturday, somebody can knock off somebody. I mean, just think about this season. How bad Alabama looked at Florida State. You go between the hedges, you beat Georgia. You've got Illinois going to Indiana, getting embarrassed. Then they come home and they knock off a top 25 team in USC. Makes no sense whatsoever.
Oh, and by the way, that Florida State team just lost to Virginia on Friday night.
Exactly. And you got an Ole Miss team that literally was a fumble away from losing to Arkansas, and they just beat a top 5 team in LSU this weekend. So the point is, to me,
a TCU team.
Yeah.
Good point.
Thought was going to make that sneaky run.
They looked really good, and then Arizona State reminds you, hey, maybe we're top dog still.
Mississippi State goes to overtime against Tennessee. So the point being is, to me, Kirby has embraced more than, at least he says it publicly. I really do believe he has got the best mentality when it comes to coaching college, which this is now we always said it was the NFL light, but it really is now based on how much you're paying these kids. And it's a situation where as soon as you lose, it's on to the next one.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you got the Saban 24-hour rule, celebrate, la, 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 all that kind of stuff. But, man, as soon as that game was over with, I just, yeah, Kirby was disappointed, but Kirby's life didn't come to an end because he lost to Alabama.
No.
It was that week's opponent.
That's it.
And he lost.
And look, and Kirby knows if they win a lot more games, which they should with this team, they're going to be in a college football playoff.
Absolutely.
And then it does come down to one game, one matchup, 1 week of preparation, or however many weeks it is, depending on when they play. And you worry about it then. But I agree with you, Pat, that, if fans, but that's part of the reason we love college football, is that we are so reactionary and we are so microwave.
Mm-hmm.
But for Kirby, you kind of got to look at it that way. But I go back to what Dennis said. I would not be reminding people about Alabama's success if that's truly where your recruiting pitch is in trying to win over some of those big recruits. But a lot of them probably didn't hear the comments anyways.
Well, multiple things can be true at the same time, right? Because I agree with what y'all both said about Kirby and his mindset of he does seem to have adopted that better than just about any other coach in college football. But I think you can also say that and believe, yeah, it's on to Kentucky for them because he understands, hey, that was a game we almost lost last year. If we don't bring our A game this Saturday, we might find ourselves getting beat by Alabama twice. But at the same time, deep down understanding that, yeah, he does have a problem beating Alabama. And for somebody that's a competitor of his nature, it's not a flaw, but that has to eat away at him and that has to kill him because that is the one obstacle that for whatever reason he has trouble overcoming each and every time he faces it.
Yeah, and it probably bothers him to know that Alabama will, at Courtney Morgan and the rest of the recruiting team, they're going to continue to go into Georgia and try to pluck all these type of 5-stars out of Georgia. And what can they point to? Look at our recent success. We've now won 10 of 11 against Georgia. Kirby's won one time against this Alabama Crimson Tide since he's been at the helm in 10 years. So, yeah, it's a problem. Another big game that happened this weekend was over in Oxford, Mississippi, as the Rebels took out LSU 24-19. Trinidad Chambliss, he passed for 314 yards, a touchdown, his third straight 300-yard game. Ole Miss outgained the Tigers 480 yards to 254. Only 254 yards of offense against Pete Golding's defense. LSU, 57 yards rushing. I thought Brian Kelly said that they were going to get that worked out.
It was fixed, right? But that was Brian Kelly, just like I thought it was when he reacted the way that he did and had the problem with it. That was a coach that's genuinely concerned about what he sees with his running game. And it showed up against a good team.
You go back a couple weeks. Why did he get all snippy with that reporter? Because he knew that this is what his team is. He knows that this is the offense that he has.
Exactly. And I said it at the time.
Your all-world quarterback that was supposed to win the Heisman Trophy or in the conversation, he threw for 197 yards, a touchdown, and he was intercepted. Not quite the put my picture on a billboard in Times Square that I'm going to be a Heisman Trophy candidate. Brian Kelly is now 4-9 in ranked matchups at LSU. So when we talk about Kirby Smart against Alabama, Brian Kelly's 4-9 at the helm at Louisiana State University. This is what he had to say after the game about his team's issues.
Garrett Nussmeier's got to play better. Every player on offense has got to play better. And then we have to be more consistent on defense. I mean, we there's not one guy that you will put out Koki and go, well, that was the reason why we lost. There's many players that have to play their best when their best is needed. We weren't very good on third down, right? We've been a really good third down team. We have to be better on third down. And that's not just Garrett. That's we got to get open. Our coaches got to get our guys in a position where they can make some plays. And look, you saw it. We struggled with completing a deep ball, where they did very, very well completing the deep ball. This is not a Garrett Nussmeier problem. This is an entire football team of guys doing their job at a higher level.
So it's got to fall back on Brian Kelly. Bottom line. And while we want to compare, and rightfully so, we can criticize Hugh Freeze and that offense, but how much did LSU spend to go and handpick those guys out of the portal? How many millions of dollars are dedicated to that?
18 million,
you
supposedly.
You got Nussmeier coming back, another year in the system, everything's set up, right? Your defense under Blake Baker, it's a lot better. But now when we look back on it, and you can only play the schedule that you have of your 5 games, who's the best team that you played? Well, you just played them.
Yeah, I mean, if you're, again, with LSU, and I think you're right, it was reflected in what you saw in the AP poll yesterday of that Clemson win really not very impressive anymore.
That Florida win, okay.
Not very impressive. You're struggling against Southeastern Louisiana. You're only scoring 20 points against a bad Florida team. I think people are starting to realize, okay, maybe this LSU team is not all that they're chalked up to be.
There's a good chance, Conrad, they're finishing 9-3.
And whether absolutely, and whether it's Garrett Nussmeier is hurt and he never fully recovered, because you remember in fall camp he had that injury and we were, it's not that serious. Well, maybe it is that serious, and if that's the case, then you need to find a way, whether that's putting Van Buren in or something, because this is unacceptable. You're not going to beat Alabama like this. You're not going to beat the upper class competition in the SEC if you can barely muster 19 points in SEC competition. That's not going to cut it.
We will continue with your calls and your text messages. Top of the hour, we'll hear from Kalen DeBoer, the head football coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. That's straight ahead. It is 11:47. Coming up at the top of the hour, you will hear from Kalen DeBoer, Head football coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide coming off the big win against the Georgia Bulldogs. His weekly meeting with the media. The coordinators are meeting currently with the media. Just read a couple of comments from Ryan Grubb, who has a lot of people this week just gone on and on about his incredible play calling the other night against Georgia. And he has been singing the praises of Ty Simpson, needless to say. And we'll hear what his boss, the head coach of Alabama, has to say in a couple minutes. This month at Courtesy GMC, it's the kickoff sales event, and they're bringing the lowest prices in the Southeast. Get up to $15,000 off an all-new 2025 Sierra 1500, or go bigger with the Sierra 2500 HD, up to $12,000 off. All 2025 stock Yukons and Yukon XLs are now $5,000 off. That means Courtesy has the all-new 2025 Yukon and Super Cruise. That's the hands-free driving starting at $69,995. And you can walk out of there $5,000 off the brand new Acadia. Plus, every new GMC comes with the exclusive 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. CourtesyBirmingham.com is the website. Go by and see Josh Gargis, Drew Lally, Tommy Rowan, and the great people there at Courtesy GMC off of I-459, exit 32 in Trussville.
We continue with your text on Reaction Monday, 205-834-9450. More criticism for Hugh Freeze. This one reads, Freeze tried to turn a true drop-back quarterback in Thorne into an RPO QB, and now the opposite with Arnold. That's my biggest head-scratcher.
I think the worst thing that I heard or saw from Auburn fans over the weekend is the fact you have people questioning, would you be better off right now with Peyton Thorne as your quarterback than Jackson Arnold? I think that is the ultimate nightmare scenario you had coming into the year. So to be 5 games in and have people asking that question is not great.
It just seemed like Auburn's offense was, at least last year with Peyton Thorne, but I don't know how much of that I give credit to Peyton Thorne for. It looked like it was organized. It looked like there was, most of the time, there was a method to the madness. What you've seen the last 2 weeks is, it would be like the two of us going and picking up a play sheet and saying, all right, what do we have to work with? We haven't been in film all week. Let's run this.
I mean, I just have to imagine if you're Hugh Freeze right now, right? And again, it doesn't all fall on Jackson Arnold, right? There's so many issues. But you're probably screaming at him, please throw an interception. Like, there are some times where it's like, you got to let it rip.
Well, he tried on Saturday. And
it didn't work.
What about the elephant in the room? Why didn't Kirby kick a field goal and tie it up being at home?
See, I didn't really hate that call, right? Because it's 12, 13 minutes left in the ball game. You've been able to run on Alabama all day. Now, I thought the play call itself was not a good play call, but I think the idea to go for it in that situation, I didn't hate that call for Kirby, right? Because you get 1 yard, you're probably going to score, make it 28-24, and then Alabama's on the ropes with 12 minutes left in the game. I don't hate that play call.
Kirby was hell-bent afterwards in his press conference. He was very matter of fact. He said, 10 times out of 10, I'm doing the exact same thing. Like that, and the reason, that's the reason they went fast.
Absolutely. And credit to LT Overton because he was able to get back there and blow it up. But I don't hate the decision. I just think the play call maybe could have been a little better.
This one wondering if Hugh's short game on the course looks better than his passing game and play calling. Noonan! Thank you from the great state of North Carolina. Drake says, in your guys' honest opinion, if Florida loses by double digits to Texas Saturday, is Napier the next coach to be fired?
Should be.
Yeah, I don't think Saturday's. I think they're just trying to get their ducks in a row right now.
Well, and if I saw it correctly, I think Texas is only like a 7-point favorite in that game.
Napier's press conference today, he said that he has seen a different look in DJ Lagway's eyes.
Can he walk without a boot?
I don't know, but his eyes look really good, according to Billy Napier.
Are they opened?
They've
been closed because of his crying after 5 interceptions in a game. I'd bawl my eyes out.
Well, it's like when Jameis threw for 40 interceptions that year in the NFL, or 30, whatever it was. Then he went and had LASIK eye surgery. Maybe that's what they did for Lagway.
Maybe so. Doesn't always work. Just ask Sean Murphy.
No.
Too many adults, including the college football demographics, want so bad to see over-the-top reaction. Kirby is an actual adult. That should be the norm. Yeah, we appreciate the over-the-top reactions.
I mean, you agree with me with the way Kirby, like in any press conference, it's like you're watching John Harbaugh of the Ravens.
Yeah.
Just it's business. And, it's like when Kirby came out after the game, he said, look, first off, I want to thank everybody that made this environment tonight just unbelievable. It was off the chains great, and then he starts breaking down what went wrong and how they need to get better as a football team. Yeah, I mean, he was disappointed, but it wasn't like he was. And it's also, let's be honest, I mean, he's obviously very safe in his position.
Well, yeah.
He's got a lot of equity.
Yes. And I, too, have thought, why would you not be like that if you have a couple of national championships under your belt? If you're getting paid $12 million a year.
Well, and I look, I'm not going to put words in Kirby's mouth because I don't know him, but
I think he wants to win, but I don't think he wants to hurt himself when he loses.
No, and I think he also probably looks at that after the game on Saturday and goes, all right, let's move on to the next one. We're going to see those guys get in the postseason probably. I feel like that's probably his mentality of, all right, they got us this time, but we'll see him again.
Yeah. Kirby, I'm sure, sees room for improvement with his team. Does he think that this is the best team that he's ever had? I will speak for Kirby and say no.
No.
More. Auburn is getting what they deserve. Done everything to get Harsin gone, and now they have the man they wanted. And I think the man they wanted won against LSU on Saturday. From the way I understand it. Landry got in the way.
Her and her video. Pulling on the heartstrings of old Diddy.
You had to go all sentimental.
Yeah.
Hey, he was so nervous in front of Landry, he threw up on the field. Did you see that?
Do you think Landry drove to Baton Rouge this morning?
To console her
boyfriend? Wake up Whit?
No, she's coming back to Oxford this morning. What are you talking about?
Keep the text rolling in. 205-834-9450, 800-239-WJOX.
All right, if you got a dangerous tree that's leaning over your house or maybe branches blocking your view, call Golston Tree Service today, 205-337-4443. Golston's licensed pros. They can handle everything from trimming and pruning to full tree removals, fast, safe, and affordable. Don't wait until the next storm causes damage. Call Golston Tree Service. That number again, 205-337-4443. Golston also offers the 24-hour emergency tree service, so take advantage of that as well.
How's Kalen DeBoer doing on this Monday? We're going to hear from the Alabama head coach. Recap, I'm sure, brief, if at all, of what we saw versus Georgia, then getting ready for Diego Pavia. Yes, I said it. Diego Pavia and the Vanderbilt Commodores. Just trying to go 1-0 this week, Conrad. Kalen DeBoer, his press conference next from Tuscaloosa.